It is my privilege and my pleasure to say, welcome to the first Sunday of August 2026, beautiful people. Oh my goodness. I don't know about you all, but I am really riding the wave of coming into almost being at the end of summer. I'm telling you. I am Reverend Vicky Jeter, your minister for Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. We welcome you on this Sunday, August the 2nd, 2026. We welcome all paths to God. We welcome your challenges and your questions. All pieces and paths of spirit, all areas of life, and all parts of ourselves are essential to a world that works for all. So whether you're here with us for the first time, or if you're watching us on our YouTube, or if you've been with us since the very beginning, we thank you for being with us because you are why we are here. At first thought, our new theme for this month of August will be a stretch. The theme is the fear and the furious. And we're not going to be hanging out with that particular topic for all 5 weeks. For those of you who might be aware, August is a 5-week month. We're only going to hang out with the fear and the furious for the first 3, but I do encourage, and I hope as many people as possible will be present for this, because actually that's part of embracing the idea of the whole of it and the all of it. Any of us who would like to think that we could just avoid the fear and the furious is probably going to learn the opposite the hard way. And I do believe you will come away with fresh perspectives and practices for engaging your own anger and fear. And then also when other people are in their fear and anger, and how to deal with that in our relationships. So today, we're starting with the topic, anger as a catalyst for change. So take a breath with me and just let that find its place within you as a suggestion. And with all of that in mind, check in with yourself and your connection to spirit. Take a moment to stop and see what brought you to be with us today. What piece of your personal masterpiece are you choosing to paint today? And coming from that place individually and together, I recognize the one life, one love, one law that manifests as all existence. There is no other than the omnipresence that is omnipresent, than the omniscient intelligence that infuses everything that is, and omnipotence. Omnipotent power that cannot be diminished and is always empowering us with every breath that we take. And from this alignment in unity with spirit and with each other, in mind, heart, and soul, I open this time as a supportive platform to acknowledge all of who we are, including anger and fear, all of our potential to have the courage to go beyond what we would like to be the obvious about love and law and how it comes together, and recognize that when we say it is the all that is all, it encompasses all of it, all the time. And so with that courage and paradoxically with the heart of a child, I release it in great thanksgiving for all of the gift of life. I let it be, and so it is. So this morning, I'm actually going to read to you the key words of our opening song before we play it, because it's an excellent example of one aspect of exactly what we're challenged here to learn, both spiritually and in human terms. And I'm talking about not just today, but overall. That everything in existence is equally an expression of spirit. The parts that we like and understand equally with the parts we don't like and we don't understand. So as we dive into embracing anger and fear as expressions of spirit having a human experience, this song reminds us in a very unique way that it's all one. And, pardon me, as I share with you these words, the reason why I'm doing that is because this has got kind of a rap beat to it, and these guys are moving pretty quickly. And I really, really want you to be able to go with them, and I think you're going to get that better with a chance to hear what they're saying without the music and the rapping. And then the last thing that I want you to know, when we actually do play the song, at the end, there's like a call and response, and you just watch for it and you'll see it because the crowd that they're with, they do it. And I really invite you to play along with that when we get to it. So the song is titled One, and the key musician that will actually show up again later today, his name is David Lamotte, and the words are: one day in a distant land, one woman and one man. One thing led to another. One was a father, one was a mother. One day a daughter, and one day a son. A year later, another and another. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 makes one human race on the run. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 makes 1. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 makes 1. One by one the tribes scattered. One got thin and one got fatter. One got cake and one got batter. One in the gutter, one up the ladder. One hanging with Hitler, one marching for Martin Luther's truth. One sings for the secret police, while one goes trekking after Mother Teresa. One plays peekaboo with a baby girl. One plays checkers with an elder one. One climbs a mountain just to get air. One popping wheelies in a wheelchair. One likes Jesus. One likes Judah. One likes Yogananda, Muhammad, and the Buddha. 1 + 1 + 1 makes 1. Keep it up and let us hear you sing. 1 + 1 + 1 makes 1. And with that, if you would play our opening song.
One, 2, 3, 4. 1.
It's the only number
1
ever needs to say when
1
counts in the new math.
1
+ 1 makes
1.
Can you guys say it with us?
1 1
Day in a distant land,
1
woman and one man.
1
Thing led to another.
One.
Was a father, one was a mother.
1
Day, a daughter and a son.
One.
Year later, another.
One.
+ 1 + 1 + 1 makes
1.
human race on the run.
1.
We'll run for the president.
1.
We'll run 'cause it can't pay the rent.
1.
Runs COVID operations.
1.
We'll run with no destination.
1.
Says wait, it's just not fair.
1.
Plate full and one plate bare.
1
Flaw after another.
1
Solution, add them all together. 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 makes 1. 1 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 makes 1 by 1. The tribes scattered.
1.
Got thin and one got fatter.
1.
Got cake and one got the batter.
1.
In the gutter, one up the ladder.
1.
Hanging with the Hitler Youth.
1
marching Martin Luther's truth. One sings to the secret police while one goes trekking after Mother Teresa. Plays peekaboo with a baby girl. Plays checkers with an arsenal. Up a mountain just to get air. Papa Willie's in a wheelchair. One likes Jesus, one likes Judah. Yogananda, Muhammad, the Buddha. Says, wait, how do you pick a path? Solution, new math. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 makes 1. Keep it up. Let us hear you sing. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 makes 1 to 1, and the lonely one to wonder where it's leading to. Wonderful, wondrous thing. One way, the way we're going. 1 bottling up his anger like a bomb. Drinking coffee cause he's just too calm. In the wilderness living like a fox. Hanging curtains in a cardboard box. Sleeping off a 3-day drunk. In a thinking all that can be thunk. In the garden with nothing but a stick. He's a couch potato, click, click, click. One channel Bambi, one channel pond. Channel people, channel voices from beyond. Voices, what a great equation. Solution with a million variations. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 it makes 1. Let me hear you say 1. Everybody count it out. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 makes 1. Keep up on the ones, you guys do the opposite. 1 goes up and 1 goes. 1 is square and 1 is. 1 will smile and 1 will. 1 is lost and 1 is. 1 is hot and 1 is. 1 is young and 1 is. 1 is silver, 1 is gold. 1 gets bought and 1 gets sold. 1 goes left and 1 goes. 1 by day and 1 by. 1 is dark and 1 is. 1 is black and 1 is. 1 says yes and 1 says. 1 goes fast and 1 goes. 1 goes hot, 1 goes low. 1 says stop and 1 says 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 makes 1. 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 makes 1. 1. Keep it up, keep it up. 1. 1. 1. 1. 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Good morning, everybody. I have your morning announcements. So, first Wednesday will be our spiritual connection. Will be on Thursday, August the 6th from 7 to 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Understanding unity and harmony in relationship to peace and cultivating joy. Next Sunday, August the 9th, Rev Vicky Jeter, The Fear and the Furious. Fierce clarity with fear and becomes a compassion, a compass. Save the date, homecoming in-person gathering. It's going to be on Labor Day weekend. Starting on Friday, September 4th would be a travel day. Saturday, September 5th, the men will have a meeting. They actually have a meeting area now, so they will have a meeting group. On Sunday, they will have the next day, and then Monday is another travel day. So please save the date for that. We're looking forward to being able to watch that on Zoom or in live in person. August financials update.
We're going to back up just a little bit.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I just want to augment that just a little bit. So as he was saying, I was so excited. We actually have a guy to announce that the guys have a space. So at the same time, of course, there will be women's circle for
Yes.
women on that Saturday. And then just filling out the plan for you a little bit because we are, we're tracking toward it's like a month away.
Yes.
So that Saturday evening, we will be going to the Olive Garden for dinner, and that's everybody. And then on Sunday, like we have done in the previous 2 years, we will be doing potluck at the treehouse at Jones, starting about 4 o'clock. So there'll be service that morning, just like now on Sunday morning. And then as we get into the afternoon, people are welcome to start arriving at Jones at about 4. And this year, we're not going to go like way extended. We're going to be wrapping up at Jones between 9 and 9:30 so that we've got it all cleaned up for her by about 10 o'clock. And that's the update from that for today. And I'm turning it back over to Sean, who's doing a great job.
So we have our August financials. Our income for July, as of July 31st, was $3,385.79. Our income budget for August 2026 is $2,550. As of August 1st, we have received, I'm not sure how much we received. Our current, because it's only the second, so.
Yeah, we haven't yet received anything technically for August. One thing that I will say about that, because there is one person here present might be a little confused about that. We did already receive one donation, which normally comes in on the very first of the month, which would be sitting right there, except it actually posted on the 31st. So in order to be authentic and, transparent, that is part of why our income for July got bolstered up just almost to $3,400.
And our current saving balance is $3,023. And we were able to pay our Reverend Patrick $240, and the center gained $200 for the workshop. So thanks everybody for that. That was wonderful. And it was a wonderful workshop. Please join us for sharing time after the benediction. Our purpose. The purpose of Louisville Center for Spiritual Living is to be a vital hub, a beloved community. We learn and practice care and creativity for the gift of life, a vessel of oneness, a synergy of spirit, soul, mind, body, and all for all beings. Our mission and vision. Our mission to teach a personal transformation as a virtual community, living in principles of the science of mind, and celebrating all paths to God. Our vision, a world that honors and respects all people. Application of what we believe. Healthy anger is a call out of connection. It is not out to hurt anybody. Our practitioner week, of course, is me. And I can't wait to share my sacred reading and my meditation with you. So this is my first one, so bear with me. So the reading comes from Devin Martin. He is a life coach, and I wanted to share this piece with you because I just loved it as soon as I read it. I used to be so angry. I was angry at the state of the world. I was angry at myself. Now anger arises so rarely I miss it. And when it comes, I cherish it as a gift. What changed? I went deeper into the anger and felt its roots. Where does anger come from? Do you embrace it? How do you act when emotion arises? Do you become aware of anger early enough to choose a clarity over rage? Can you smile while you are angry? Anger comes from love. You cannot get angry unless you care about something. It is impossible to feel anger without love. Understanding this on a deep level and developing the ability to witness this within inside yourself will change your relationship to anger completely. Your anger is there to serve you. It is there to serve others. Is this because you care? Embracing anger is healthier than suppressing it. We have all heard, maybe I've heard the suggestion, to breathe 10 times when you get angry, to pause, to let it pass. Perhaps you've been advised to close your eyes, to meditate, to visualize, to exercise, to do anything to minimize or work past feeling the anger. I say that if you have a problem with anger, it's not because you indulge in it. The problem is that you do not feel it deeply enough to understand its roots. Anger is dangerous unless you feel it deeply. Truly bringing your awareness to your anger changes everything. Feeling anger deeply brings you to love. How we act when anger arises is determined by the degree of awareness we have in our internal landscape. The less aware we are of how anger rises, the later in gestation we feel it. When we witness anger at its roots, it feels like love. When we catch it early enough, it does not feel overwhelming, and we therefore have a choice in how to express in our actions. When we choose to honor anger as a manifestation of love, it can be channeled into a creative, even nurturing act. When a loved one is threatened, anger compels us to protect them. This we know. But do we recognize that you are often protecting yourself when you get angry? Can you connect with a feeling of vulnerability that precedes the anger? Trace the anger, and when you will find yourself feeling threatened. Beneath that, you will find what you love. Before all else, love yourself. And so it is. So let's just take a moment to find a comfortable position. Close your eyes softly if you like. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Take a deep breath. Inhale fully through your nose, feeling your chest rise. Exhale completely. Release the breath slowly through your mouth. Repeat this breath cycle 10 times to anchor yourself in the present moment. Notice where fear and anger lives in your body right now. Check common tight areas. Scan your jaw, your chest, or clenched stomach. Recognize the root. Realize that fear is simply a part of trying to keep you safe. Mentally, ask the feeling, what do you need right now? Listen closely. Wait for a response without forcing it, looking for needs like safety or comfort. Place a hand over your heart. Feel the physical warmth of your chest as it rises and falls. Try smiling when you feel anger. Breathe deep. Exhale with ease. This is an easy smile. You should feel it in your heart space. You must keep breathing. Holding your breath traps energy. Breathe deeply, circulates energy. Smiling will interrupt patterns of rage and of anger. Smiling is the key to transforming anger into clarity and compassion. Picture a smile radiating out and expanding out into the universe. Watch your smile dissolve the hard edges of fear and anger. When you are ready, return to the room, gently wiggling your fingers and your toes. Expand self-gratitude for love of anger. As you bring your awareness back into the room, gently open your eyes. When you are ready, knowing you are pure love and light. And so it is. Our special music today is Who You Are by Jesse J. Cover with the One Voice Children's Choir.
Reflection in the mirror. Why am I doing this to myself? Losing my mind on a tiny error. Oh, I nearly left the real me on the shelf. No, 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 no. Don't lose your brushing my hair, do I look perfect? I forgot what to do to fit the mold. The more I try, the less it's working. Yeah. 'Cause everything inside me screams na 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 na. Yeah. Don't lose you up in the burning stars. Seeing is deceiving, dreaming is believing.
Just taking a breath to let all of that land. Thank you so much, Sean. It was a beautiful first volley. Our practitioner team always lays such a foundation for us, and I'm so, so grateful. Anger as a catalyst for change. Part of what I need to set as a foundation for this message is an acknowledgement that it is not possible to narrow down anger to one cause or resolve. Really often, sources of insight about dealing with fear and anger will sound like if we would just do this or we would just do that, it would all make it good and it would become manageable and simplified. None of what you hear today is intended to oversimplify your experience. Fear and anger are uniquely personal to each person. So all of this is intended as food for thought and resourcing for all of us to support each other in the processes of really getting intimate with anger and fear, because there's so much of it that's going around now almost necessarily because of everything that's going on that doesn't yet have resolve. Also, some of what is presented here applies individually, and some of it addresses dealing with anger and fear collectively, how we're all impacting each other, such as in our process of seeking global peace. And that's all part of the process. We know we want something, and here we are, and we want to get there. And sometimes it can seem like in prayer, well, can't we just do like a time warp, like in Star Trek, and just get there? But in reality, it's about becoming. We are being where we are here. We know we have an idea of where we want to go, but in order to be able to get there and actually be in God's concept of the kingdom of heaven being at hand and how all of this is supposed to work for us, we have to find the courage to go through the becoming. And going through the becoming looks like everything that you've heard so far this morning. We're going to talk about all that a little bit more. And then another piece of consideration that is so precious came up actually in the Saturday discussion call this last Saturday. Someone mentioned that they were literally raised to be seen and not heard. We've all heard that before, but this person was saying, hey, in their household, that was basically it. That was the default norm. They were expected to practice not showing much emotion about anything at all, and certainly not anger. So I'm interested to see, and I'm just going to make sure that I can see you all for a moment, how many of you can relate generally to being raised to be seen but not heard? Okay, so I don't know if y'all can see each other's hands, but it's a good 2/3 of us that are here today that were actually fashioned in and molded into the idea of being seen but not heard. It's nearly impossible to recognize anger as a messenger if we are not personally familiar with what makes us angry or how it feels when we're angry. It is nearly impossible to know what to do if we're never taught how to process that in our own feelings or handle it in a relationship to other people. If this has been your experience of anger, then allowing yourself to become familiar with permitting yourself to feel angry and connect with some resources to learn how to express anger safely is definitely among your first steps. Now, setting all of that aside for just a moment within your own personal experiences and maybe orienting a little bit as we go along, it might not just be, oh yeah, that's the way I was raised. It might be kind of a mixed bag. I know for myself, I was not raised to be seen and not heard. I was very fortunate. Both of my parents could deal with the fact that I had anger or sadness or fear or whatever it might be, as long as it was only about certain things. So in my household, one of the things I had to learn, kind of like, sticking my finger in my mouth and then checking which way the wind was blowing, was this going to be a day that I could be authentic, or was this going to be a day that I better, tiptoe through the tulips, shall we say? Now, to begin from this point, the question that sums up the intention of this message is, how can I honor my anger and still choose love? How can we best be honest and authentic with ourselves and each other about anger and fear without relationships falling apart? What if anger is not something to be fixed, but a signal to follow? Often, anger is an important messenger pointing to something that's not working and needs to be taken care of or to be protected. But I know when I was growing up, if I thought something I really needed to say was going to make the situation worse, if it was about one of those things that, I had better tuck myself in, but, you have this impulse, you just want to scream, you just want to get in somebody's face and say, wake up, or whatever's going on. But if I thought that that was going to make it worse, or if I thought that someone wouldn't love me anymore if I did that, I just wouldn't say anything. I would stuff my concerns, I would stuff my fears and my questions, and I would be really angry, but it would be under a pressure cooker. And the problems that caused them would happen over and over again, because nature drives us to clear that stuff out. And if we don't know how to clear it out successfully, then it just keeps coming back around. Now, learning how to allow ourselves to have our own feelings and then practice being honest with others, that's what programs like Codependence Anonymous are all about. That's why Louisville Center for Spiritual Living started facilitating a Codependence Anonymous meeting once a week, because this particular challenge is prevalent in most families I'm aware of, one way or another. And codependency is when I'm not okay if you're not okay. Like if I have to say something that I think you're not going to like, and then I can't say it because I'm afraid of what you're going to say, that's essentially codependency. And what you learn in a program like Codependence Anonymous is that these are skills we were supposed to learn in the first place. It's not that something's wrong with us because we don't know how to do this. We weren't modeled or taught, most of us, really how to do anger well. And so it's about learning that absolutely it's okay to have our feelings, and absolutely it's okay to know we have to practice that becoming. We have to find out how to come together and solve those problems that are underlying the fear and anger without completely falling apart. And it's a skill. It's a practice. Now, this comes from the information that was provided by Home Office on this particular theme. There's a couple passages I just want to share with you that are included here. When we are in pain or fear, anger and hate are our go-to emotions. That's the reactive. That's when you don't stop and take those 10 breaths. It's easier to be pissed off than it is to feel hurt or scared, so we get angry. Anger is a catalyst. Holding on to it makes us exhausted and sick. Or sometimes anger can mask far more difficult emotions like overwhelming grief, regret, shame, and we need to use it to dig into what is really going on underneath the automated reactive anger. The courage to do that will bring us around to learning that absolutely, if we will trust the process and take that leap and just do it differently, allow the arithmetic of that to be different. 1 + 1 + 1 = 1. It's about how we come together in it rather than the fear that we're just going to lose everything. And then Ernest Holmes said, anger can be turned into love, and the very power that has been destroying can be made to be building something up rather than tearing it down. Again, it's all about how to learn how to navigate it differently. Ernest Holmes teaches that all emotions, including anger, are expressions of the energy of spirit, that emotions and thoughts are powerful forces that shape our lives, and they're ongoing regardless of the ones that we would prefer to filter out. He also taught that emotions fuel manifestation, and when we learn how to work with the full field of emotions, then we're that much more in alignment with natural law. The key lies in how we direct those emotions. Ernest Holmes said, anger can be turned into love, and the very power that has been destroying can be made to build up. He's pointing to the transformational process and potential of using emotional energy consciously. Now, this is part that comes from Sean's reading. When he and I were going over what we would do today, I realized that a piece of this really needs to be reiterated. As I was just saying, Ernest Holmes' perspective was that anger could be transformed into love, and Devin Martin, that Sean read from, says anger comes from love. And this is why I was saying at the beginning, there's lots of different horses on this carousel, and they all have validity in different conditions and different situations. So, looking at the perspective that anger comes from love, you cannot get angry unless you care about something. It is impossible to feel anger without something that you feel passionate about underneath it. Understanding this on a deep level and developing the ability to witness it and witness it within yourself will change your relationship to anger completely. And this is that courage before we automatically lash out and respond, to stop and go deeper and see what is underlying, what is really going on. And I would reiterate here, I find this is probably really true a lot of the time. One exception would be when there is anger that is actually being fueled by an imbalance, like a mental or emotional illness. We all know that's happening a lot today too. And even if you go deep enough with that, you're probably going to find love or a lack of love is at the bottom of it. But it's really important to recognize that if somebody's lashing out in anger that is not emotionally or mentally balanced, that's a little bit different agenda and needs to be, then protection and so forth needs to be taking place. But when we're not talking about a mental or emotional imbalance, your anger is there to serve you, and it's there to serve others. It exists because you care. It's just a matter of finding out how to express that in a way that's beneficial. I have an example here from when I was little. You know, I crawled until I was 4, and then when I was 4, they got me up on Canadian crutches like I'm walking with today. And when you're walking with something like that and you hit maybe a piece of ice or maybe a leaf on the ground that's loose, and those crutches can come out from underneath you, and that would happen to me quite often. And it made my father angry every time. I mean, purple-faced angry. And if he happened to be in the vicinity where I fell, he would come and sweep me up just as quickly as he possibly could. But he wasn't able to withhold how angry it made him that I had fallen. So the message that I got is this was not good. My father was a very patient man, but he had a lot of energy. He was spiritually had a lot going on. And when he would get angry, you couldn't miss it. And he never hurt me. I'm not saying that at all. I mean, he would sweep me up gently, but I could feel the anger just, pouring out of him. And for years, I thought he was angry at me for falling. It wasn't until I was an adult one day we finally got to dig beneath that together. and he was able to share with me his vulnerability. He was able to share with me. He wasn't angry with me. He didn't know. He did not know. I thought he was angry with me. If he had known that, he would have stopped. He would have talked to me right then when I was little. He didn't know. And so then finally, when I'm like 18 years old, he's telling me he was angry because he had to see me fall. He was angry because he had to see me getting hurt and he couldn't stop it. And see the difference in how all this thing come together. Now, we're going to watch a clip of actually one of the band members. I was mentioning the name of David Lamott. He was not the main speaker. He was actually the guy on the end that was mostly doing the drums. And I want to show you this because he has a whole different take on a different perspective of how to deal with anger in peace work. And so he wrote that song that they sang, and he was a successful musician for years. And then he got a tap from Spirit that said that he was intended to dive into being a peace worker. And that's actually what he went to college for. He thought he was going to be a peace worker and then got into college and started a band. And so it all kind of came together, and this is a piece of a TED talk that he did. Vernon, can you play the clip for me?
And since then, I've been pretty heavily engaged in peace work, both in the US and in other places around the world. And I don't need to tell you that there's no shortage of peace work to do, right? We have plenty of conflict, and we know that we're living in a particularly divisive time right now in the US. But it can seem a little bit overwhelming. I mean, what does peace work look like for us as individuals? How do we find our way into that work? Here's the irony. I stepped away from music to do peace work. And in my studies and in my work, I keep coming up against the fact that music provides us really quite a powerful tool in peace. Not just as an actual tool to shift conflict dynamics and build bridges across divides, but as a metaphor, a lens we can look through to help understand what peace work is and what it isn't. Let me give you a couple of examples. I think most of us agree that in order to be a good song, a song has to be creative. Excellence in music isn't just about adhering closely to rules. There has to be a spark of originality. You may be surprised to hear me say that the same is true of peace work, because we kind of expect peace work to come naturally, to know what to do, right? And it doesn't. We know from grade school science class what does come naturally most of the time when we're faced with aggression. Fight and flight. The theologian and nonviolent scholar Walter Wink said that our best options, however, are usually neither of those. Usually there's a third option, what he called a third way, that can be a little bit more innovative and maybe get us a little bit farther down the road. I want to tell you about my favorite example of that. It happened in 2007 in Knoxville, Tennessee. There was a Klan and neo-Nazi rally in Knoxville, just over the mountain from where we are now. And the counter-protesters came out in numbers, and some of them came out with brilliant creativity. They came dressed in full clown regalia, and the Ku Klux Clowns met the Ku Klux Klan that day. When the Klan began to chant white power, the clowns listened very closely, like they couldn't quite understand what they were saying. And then they joined right in enthusiastically because they figured out that this was a rally for white flour. They had brought bags of white flour and they threw flour in the air. And they had a whole lot of fun. And people started laughing at the Klan rally and ignoring the Klan. So they worked that gag for a few minutes, and then they said, wait, I don't think that's what it was at all. I don't think this is a rally for white flour. I think it's a rally for white flowers. And they started handing out flowers to everybody, and people were smiling. And then they said, no, that wasn't it again. Another clown said, oh, I think we heard them wrong. I don't think it was white flowers. I think it was tight showers, and held up a camp shower, and they all crowded beneath it. And then they said, no, that wasn't it at all. This is actually a rally for wipe power, and they threw toilet paper in the air. And then they said, no, 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 that wasn't it at all. This is a rally for wife power, and we can get behind that. They pulled on their wedding dresses and joined in, chanting wife power, wife power. The upshot was that the Klan left an hour and a half early. They had the town square reserved for 4 hours, but they left after 2.5 because they had no idea how to deal with this, right? I mean, they know about animosity. They kind of thrive on that. They know about your fear, and they like that part too. But when they were upstaged by humor and fun, they had no idea how to respond. So the best peace and justice work, like the best music, is inspired and planned for and skilled and extremely creative. There has to be a little bit of conflict in music for it to work. As soon as a melody goes in a direction we don't expect it to, or a rhyme surprises us, there's a little bit of tension in that song, right? A little bit of conflict, and that helps. It makes us lean in. It makes the song work better. If it doesn't go anywhere, if it's just one note repeating, well, you know the word monotonous. That's a synonym for boring. But literally, it means monotonous, right? It's one note repeating. That's not music. That's a garbage truck backing up. But surprisingly, perhaps, I want to make the argument that there's a good and healthy place for conflict within piecework as well. And we often understand piecework as an effort to quell conflict, to eliminate conflict, but that's not actually how it looks to me. I had the extraordinary opportunity a few years ago to spend some time with John Lewis, the civil rights hero and U.S. congressman, and we were talking about ways that we think piecework is generally misunderstood in our culture. And he told me some amazing stories, and one of the things he said that I'll never forget, he said, Dr. King used to say to me, and just with the preamble to that sentence, all the hairs on my arm stood up. He said, Dr. King used to say to me, sometimes you have to turn the world upside down in order to set it right. Conflict is often necessary on the way to justice. And we can't help but notice that when we look at the lives of our greatest peacemakers, the folks we revere worldwide, though most of them were deeply committed to nonviolence, it seems like everywhere they went, people ended up bloody. So are we wrong to call them peacemakers? I don't think so. I think we need to nuance our understanding of what peace means. To me, peacemaking is not an effort to eliminate conflict. Peacemaking is the art of approaching conflict in ways that are constructive rather than destructive.
Peace is the art of approaching conflict in ways that are constructive rather than destructive. And that theme has been emerging over the past couple months in the different things that we've talked about, the examples showing, where something's been coming at somebody and whoever's coming at you thinks you're going to respond in one way, like calling 911 if you're getting robbed, and someone says to you, oh, how can I help you? That's constructive rather than destructive. So this is part of what I think our national movement, our home office has been getting at about we need to begin doing things differently. And now we have some examples coming out of exactly what doing things differently means. It doesn't mean going into denial. It doesn't mean sweeping things under the rug, but it means taking a look at it and saying, wow, how can I color way outside the lines and find a way to do this that's going to bring some effect rather than just pure destruction. And so I need to just take a look at one thing here in my notes. Explore and reflect. This week, journal about a recent moment of anger for you. What was the deeper message your anger was trying to deliver? And yes, I am taking this out of the notes from home office because some of this stuff they said I could not possibly have said better. Were boundaries being crossed? Were your values being denied? Were you being ignored? Were truths being denied? Reflect on how you responded. And actually, that responded might be a reaction. Check to see as you're doing this, did I have an immediate reaction? And if you did, that's okay. It's okay not to be okay. But take a look at that. Take that breath or that 10 breaths, and ask yourself, was there a more creative response I could have done? Being aware of where I was coming from, what it really meant to me. Where was the love at the bottom of that? And and the thing is, we think maybe the moment is past and, I messed that up and I don't want to go back and bring it up again. But we can absolutely do this. This is an ongoing process. We're not going to arrive at peace. This was enlightening to me. I hadn't really thought about this before. Peace isn't a destination. It's a process, and it's an ongoing process, like needing to remind people what our personal boundaries are. It's easy to think, well, I told them I need them to not do that. So if they really cared, they would have listened to me and I don't have to tell them that anymore. But we're learning. It's our boundary, not theirs. If it's our boundary, we need to keep declaring it. If it's our piece of peace, we need to keep standing for that. Peace isn't going to arrive and just stay because life keeps moving and the mud keeps getting stirred up as we plant new seeds. We have to be willing to keep learning and keep being willing to show up and do our part of peace and doing as creatively as possible. So as you look at different things you've been through, ask yourself, what might it look like if I channeled the energy differently? And do I want to go back and try doing that again? Or certainly, if it's unhealed, it will come back up again. Maybe you don't want to go back and redo it, but just say the next time this comes up, I'm going to do it differently next time. And then take that into meditation and prayer, which we shall do right now. Simply recognizing from right here where we are, it is paradoxically and simultaneously so unique, and yet we are so together. Recognizing the one life, breathing each of us. We're drawing from one mind, we're sustained by one heart, and we're part of one oversoul. As the Louisville Center for Spiritual Living Community, and as everything in all our universes that brings it all together. And from this unity in mind, heart, and soul, I realize with the deepest possible conviction that the word has been spoken and received at the place that makes a difference within each person within the sound of my voice. And as each is lifted up, we are lifted up together. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. I release it, I let it be, and so it is.
So it is. Now it's time for our prosperity sharing, conscious giving. I want to thank you for all the abundance that flows through our center, Louisville Center for Spiritual Living. The ways you can give money is through PayPal and Zelle, or you can mail a check to Louisville Center for Spiritual Living, P.O. Box 43958, Louisville, Kentucky, 50253. And we have our prosperity affirmation. You can say it with me out loud, or you can do a call or response, whatever you feel to do. My creativity blossoms in unexpected ways, blessing every area of my life. And so it is. Reverend, it's turned over to you, Reverend Vicky.
And as that is true for each of you, as you tip into your creativity and your life has blossomed, collectively, it moves right through this little basket as a part of this community. And just like the fish and the loaves, it is multiplied tenfold and sent back around to be given and received again. Thank you, Presence of Life, for all of the gift of life. And the support in learning how to live it. And with that gratitude paid forward, I release it, I let it be, and so it is.
And now say with me together, we are magnificent. Yay. And our closing song is one of my favorites, I Release and I Let Go by Reverend Dr. Michael Gott.
There was a time in my life, thought I had to do it all for myself. Didn't know the grace of God was sufficient. I didn't know the love of God was at hand. But now I can say, if you are discouraged, struggling just to make it through another day, gotta let it go. Gotta let it all go. Are you listening? You got to let it all go. And this is what you have to say. I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release and I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I release. I let go. Let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle, no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Oh, I am free in the Spirit. Yeah. Do you want to be free? Then let me hear you say yes. Yes, I'm only here for God. I know.
And so, with that wave taking us so high, now I'm going to invite us to come all the way to the bottom into a moment of stillness in light of the need for peace to emerge around the world. I am now inviting all of us to take a moment in our own time and our own way to reflect on the most peaceful moment, the most peaceful experience you have ever known. Recall that experience as if it is here now. Stay there in that feeling for the next 1 minute of silent prayer for peace around the world, knowing that each individual seeking this peace finds it in their own experience. trusting that the peace that passes understanding is here now. So we let it be, and so it is. Amen.